Hello, welcome back to Erica's City Welsh Garden. Today we're in the greenhouse. It's midday, the sun is shining, so I'm absolutely baking hot. It's 30 degrees centigrade in here. I'm surrounded with a bomb of seedlings all over the floor, all outside, and it's a little bit hicklety-picklety. But today's video, we're going to talk about how you can keep supermarket herbs going all year round. You're probably already aware that there are a number of ways that you can grow herbs in your garden. For one, if you're really organised, you can start very early in the year and sow seeds. As you can see here, this was one packet of coriander seeds and I've created probably about 20 plants there. I've got a parsley here that was grown from seed, I think in the autumn and overwintered in the polytunnel. That was from a plot neighbour that's very kindly given it to me. You can also go to the garden centres and buy kind of big pots that are generally quite expensive, or even, you know, you can get cuttings from neighbours and friends and things like that and establish a herb garden over time. Now in the UK here there are many herbs that are actually only annuals because they can't be put in the ground or grown over winter because they just don't survive our climate. One of which we've got here, and that is basil. Now this year I actually started some basil off in pots when I started this coriander off, but unfortunately none of them germinated. And I would like to say that in our house we probably only buy a pack of pre-done herbs from the supermarket maybe about 3 or 4 times a year, but they are only about 49p, so they are very cheap. However, it's not really sustainable to be buying these from the supermarket, and I can show you today how you can create a really quick and easy herb garden using supermarket herbs and keep them going all year. You're probably all really familiar with these herbs that you can get in the supermarket, and generally they are designed as a single-use item. Maybe you're cooking a special dinner that evening and the recipe says that you need some fresh basil, or I don't know, you're making pizzas or something, and there's nothing better than fresh basil rather than going for the kind of dried basil. So you go to the supermarket, you pick up one of these, and then when it comes to cooking you just snip it off. And then here is a parsley one that we've got from a very long time ago. You basically snip it off and then leave it on the windowsill hoping that it's going to revive itself, but essentially it's not going to happen. I think that has been on our windowsill for about 6 weeks now and it's not looking very good at all. But you will notice if you look really closely at this this basil plant here that actually that's not one basil plant. It's made up of, I don't know, let's have a look, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, you're looking about 15 separate plants there. They want to make sure that they pack it as full as they can with seeds, and then it grows really nicely so you can snip it off and use it as, like I said, a single-use item. And we know in this day and age that buying things like this as a single-use item, chopping it off, cooking it in your dinner, and then probably most of these would go in the bin. I would put that on the compost and then reuse this pot, but generally somebody that isn't a gardener would just chuck that away. So it's not really a sustainable way of buying herbs. However, like I said, I've had a major issue with growing basil this year. So what you can actually do is split these up and pot them on so you can actually create quite a number of big plants that you can keep grazing throughout the whole growing season. And I'm going to show you how I'm doing that now. If you have a look at this flat leaf parsley, you can see that it is absolutely jam-packed with seeds, and if we take it off you can see there that it's completely root bound. So all I'm going to do is just quite kind of, not necessarily delicately, I'm just going to kind of pull this apart so I can create lots of smaller kind of plug plants all tangled together, as you can see. And look, you can see you've got an individual plant there with a quite a big root system. So yes, there are probably about 100 plants in here, but I'm not going to worry too much about individually potting them on like that, otherwise you'd be here all day. But I'm going to put this into 4 pieces. Once we've got it into 4 pieces, all I'm going to do is just fill up 4 pots with some peat-free compost. This is a vegetable growing compost, so it's got about 3 times the amount of nutrients added to it, so that should hopefully give the plants a really good start. If you've got loads of space, then you definitely can, if you wanted to, split this up into loads of different plants and have about 30 pots going if you wanted, which would be really good for a crop rotation, you know, grazing one week, letting that regenerate, and then having new pots kind of every week to add to your food. But I am running out of space at the moment here, and I am exploding pretty much in this greenhouse, so I think I'm just going to stick to doing the 4. So now we are going to move on to the basil, and I think I'm going to split this up into 4 pieces as well. Oh, look at that. As you can see, this is so root bound. So many different plants are in here, so I'm going to kind of, just as I did before, don't necessarily have to be that gentle with it. You can just kind of pull it apart here. There we go. I absolutely love the smell of basil. I was so upset when all of my seeds never germinated, because we absolutely love it and we really love pizzas in our house, so basil is definitely something that goes with that. This is a really quick method that I'm showing you, but like I said, you know, if you had more time and more space, you could kind of individually take these apart and spread them out in the pot and things like that, because it definitely would be worth it. These cost 49p each from the supermarket, and if you can get basil growing all year round, then it's definitely worth giving this a go. I mean, with basil, you can actually keep it alive over the winter on the windowsills and things. However, it's not something I've ever been successful with, so if you've done it, you have to give me your tips for sure. Now I've watered the parsley and the basil, and you can see this poor parsley is looking very sorry for itself. It should be standing up rather than limped over like this, but don't worry at all. What I'll do for the rest of the day is just leave it in a shady area in the garden, and then tonight it will be brought into the greenhouse that I've got and just left in a shady area in the greenhouse for a couple of days until it perks up, and then after that I will probably just bring it out during the day or leave it in the greenhouse in a really sunny area so it can thrive. And then usually what I would do after that is just maybe graze each plant every time I want to use some in a salad or in cooking, and then hopefully it should keep you going all year. I've never kept it over the winter before, so I can't advise on that, but hopefully this will mean that you can save yourself some money and also not be so wasteful when it comes to the plastic waste. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If this is the first time you're watching one of my videos, please do hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to be notified of all of my latest videos. As ever, YouTube have some videos up now on the screen that they think you'll like, so please go ahead and watch those, and I'll catch up with you in the next episode. Bye!